Thank you so much for joining us for another session of our community resource connections. Today is October 1st, and that means it's not only Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And this month, for the Thursday sessions, 12 to 1, we will be introducing you to three organizations in the state of Georgia who provide domestic violence services and support for individuals in need. And so today we are welcoming Kendra Appling, the founder and CEO of Awaken Voices. They're based out of Douglasville, but they are a statewide organization that offers statewide services. So if you want to stay updated on the events that we're having and what we have planned and who we have coming up, not only just through these events that we're offering, but other events that we're hosting, please check out the link in the chat as to check out in our upcoming events. Y'all have to excuse me. I am just flustered. But thank y'all so much for joining us. And we will turn it over to you, Kendra, to tell us more about Awaken Voices.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kendra Applin, and I'm the founder of Awakening Voices Domestic Violence Services. But before I was an advocate, I am definitely a 16-year survivor. For 16 years, I lived in a marriage that was marked by domestic violence, a reality that stripped my voice away and my confidence and nearly my hope, as everybody know how it is to be, the ones that have been in a domestic violence situation. I know what it's like to feel trapped, isolated, and unsure of where to turn, who to get advice from, who to get resources from, where to get services from. But I also know what it means to rise and to heal and to rebuild and reclaim your power. That's why I started Awakening Voices, to make sure no one else has to go through what I went through. Not to say that those resources wasn't available for me at the time. I just didn't know. Being 21, I didn't know where the resources were, who to turn to besides turning to family. And as we all know, families sometimes turn their backs on us or don't want to deal with us. So at that time, I was by myself for those 16 years. And I no longer want anyone else to feel that isolation or that loneliness of not having a place to go or resources to be served to them. Awakening Voices, what we offer is resources for safe shelters and emergency support, 24/7 helplines, also counseling and emotional healing, legal advocacy for TPO orders, any type of legal or lawyers that's needed to listen to their cases, rehab, vocational training, empowerment workshops. Um, Mostly, the most important is educating the public to raise awareness and to change how society views domestic violence. Now, since it's such, it used to be a taboo thing, but now you see it pretty much every day in the news, in the workplace. And we just believe that zero tolerance, and we are building a future where survivors are believed and supported and empowered. And mostly important, the outcome that I'm working towards far as is definitely safer lives, because as we know, being people that's been in domestic violence um relationships, the most dangerous part is when they're leaving. So we definitely want to make sure that we are giving safety exit plans for them to have before they even think about leaving their abuser. Stronger legal protection, healthier families, and survivors who are no longer surviving but thriving. So anyone is listening who may be experiencing abuse, please hear me when I say this, that we are here to help you. You are not alone. You are not to blame. And there is help. There is help for you.
Well, thank you so very much. So I guess if we've got any questions, anybody wanted to ask, I wanted to ask first to find out, make sure. Um, are your services free? And if there are any costs that's associated with any of the services.
All my services are free. There's no cost. Even if you have children, uh, old with the spouse, I deal with it all male and female. So it's no fee to it whatsoever.
Okay.
So I
All
do have
right.
a question. What is your service area?
It's in Douglasville, but I service all of Georgia. And I'm trying to get now to where I can actually service out of state, because some of the victims or survivors, I would say, they have reached out to me. I reached was in New York. I have some that was in South Carolina, maybe some that's in Georgia that's leaving to go to South Carolina or New York, or some that's leaving, New York or say another state and coming to Georgia. So I'm trying to expand now to North Carolina and to other states, but all of Georgia.
Okay.
What does your intake process look like?
Usually I don't take the intakes, what how my operation is ran. I receive from, I would say, NAMI or a social worker that has someone that needs resources, and they would reach out to me for me to contact my resources, see if they have any available shelters. Because most of the times, the survivors might reach out to me on my website, but most of them email me whatever services they need. They'll say, hey, I'm leaving a domestic violence relationship. I need a place to stay. And by me being with the Georgia Coalition Against Domestic Violence as executive membership, is, I wouldn't say it's easier, but it kind of knocks the middleman out of trying to find these shelters to see if anything is available, when I could just reach straight out to these organizations that's all up under Georgia's umbrella and ask them, hey, do any of you all have any vacancies available? Do you all have any this type of services? And then again, also being a part of that membership, we have the lawyers that's on hand, far as them to receive TPO orders and all types and all that, the organizations that's in Georgia. So I wouldn't say it does help out with the community workers, since I'm not government funded. So I rely on those organizations as a team help into providing these resources and services for victims.
Okay. And while we wait on anybody else that had any questions about it, I know you said your services are free, they're
Yes,
statewide. You do um work on and depend on donations to help out. Um, some of the questions, I think one of the issues um is something that's often, like you said, when you talked about things that were taboo, or some of the issues where people automatically assume that domestic to be a victim of domestic violence is always a woman.
yeah,
Can you tell us a little bit about, or if you've had any clients that are male,
I
and if
have.
you had clients that are in homosexual relationships, because that is domestic violence is really big among LGBT communities as well as men. And I think we put too much hype on men, just
Mm-hmm,
turn your head away or
mm-hmm,
don't ever hit a woman. Um, I never advocate for violence, but I also don't advocate for people being stupid and not defending themselves.
right.
But can you tell us a little bit maybe about some numbers or statistics that um just on average about men being in domestic violence relationships? Because I think men don't really think they're in domestic violence relationships when women are kicking them and screaming and doing the same thing. I don't understand what that is. So can you give us a little bit more information about that?
Well, I have served numerous of men. that has reached out to me far as with services. And of course, I have those services that are separate from me, and far as men's shelters. I've even had mothers that have reached out, where baby mothers are, violent with their sons, and they need places far as like mental or counseling for them.
Mhm.
Some of them was even sleeping in their cars. And again, we have those shelters and those resources that are specific for men. But I was looking at a study that it was saying far as like with men, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men experience domestic violence. Behind every statistic is a story, but I believe it's a lot of men as well. But of course, men do not tell or like to say that they're in a domestic violence, because it looks at their manhood. But I think a lot of them now are expressing far as the help that they need. And I have experienced a lot of them with the LBG, I hope I'm saying it right, the
LGBTQ.
LGBT community, yes. I don't get into the gender based on that. I haven't had any with that up to my knowledge. When they reach out to me, some of them give me a book story. Some of them may just be brief to say, hey, I need to leave this situation. Can you, find resources for me to leave this situation? And then, of course, once I refer them to that organization, they go more in detail with their intake forms and different things. The good thing about it, and I've been doing this for a year now, and I've served over, I want to say close to 1,000 victims that I've had to give resources. And only a couple of, I would say 1 or 2 have came back and say, hey, these resources, no one has been available or no one has called me back. And then that's when I'm going to my next step. So it's never to where I'm giving you these resources and you're just going to have to try to figure it out for yourself. No, I'm with them from the beginning until the end, to make sure they're not getting the runaround, because that's what they've already have gone through, is the runaround. They don't call everything in United Way or give them my number, because I'm a part of United Way as well. So the goal is to not have them frustrated. They already in a bad situation, and not to confuse them even more or put more stress and pressure on them, to make it direct. This is the number that you call, because I've already built this relationship and this connection with this person or with this organization. They already said they have some available. We're not finna, there's nothing else to worry about. This is where you need to go. Now, it's their choice if they refuse to go to that place. But I typically definitely tell them exactly where the shelter is, who the shelter is, and who the contact is. And then let them know that, hey, you received the resources for me, just in case. And thank God it hasn't been into where, they have been turned around or it wasn't in availability at that shelter.
Okay.
But I am glad about some of the laws that has been passed. Far as the I want to say,
The
with
Bible
doing,
Justice Act.
yes, and and the good thing about far as with me being with the Georgia Coalition against domestic violence, that I'm not only just an executive member just to have it on paper, but I'm also down there at the state capitol. I'm down there talking to legislators. I'm also trying to make laws and different things, because even though those laws wasn't available for me, I definitely want to make it available for generations. Who knows what my family might go, a family member might go, with me. So it's very important that I'm a part of that project as well, just to make those changes. And definitely, I'm especially with the pets, because most people don't even think about even domestic violence when they have pets.
It affects them.
That's what helps them get through it. That's a part of their babies as well. And sometimes when they in those domestic violence relationships, the male will try to keep the pet from them or harm them. And then some shelters didn't even have places for them to bring their pets. So the good thing about that law has been added as well, to be added in their TPO orders, far as adding pets to TPOs, and insurance survivors can protect their pets and seeking safety. So yes, a lot of new laws, and they still in the process of doing more. So that's the good thing, that they're finally seeing and they're starting to open up their eyes, you know. So yes.
And I think I couldn't remember. It was a lot of when I was doing a lot of my research, just on some of the Georgia is like number one.
Mm-hmm.
It is like a lot of number ones in a lot of things. And part of it too is also not only with maternal, just with the domestic violence. I mean, I was
Mm-hmm.
just astounding at the numbers of how many folks are dealing with domestic violence in the state of Georgia.
Yes.
And so there are going to be some additional links that I'll drop as well when I email you all to pertaining how they pertain, to men and some of the stats. But like you said, 1 in 3 women, 1 in 4 men. It
Mm-hmm.
does impact. It impacts folks.
It does.
So of course, I know you talked briefly about it, but we wanted to just make sure we let you all know about the the Survivor Justice Act, which was signed into law by Governor Kemp.
Yes.
And that law protect survivors.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of folks had questions about it, don't really know the details of it. I think some of the feedback I've heard is, oh, now this is just some law that gives women the right to kill when they want to kill. And just to make it clear, now, if I'm wrong, Kendra, let me know. This is
Okay.
not, oh, I don't like my baby daddy because he wouldn't buy me $1,000 pocketbook. I can kill him and then not go to jail for that. That is not that. This
Right.
is where you have shown proof or history of abuse.
Right.
You've called the police. You've gotten restraining orders. It is documented that you have been in a domestic violence case. And
Right.
in the event that something happened where you had to protect yourself,
Yes.
you could get no time or no more than 5 years.
I
Is that correct?
I have a breakdown of it.
Okay.
Um
And I
again,
do know
like
it's retroactive as well. So there are
yes,
women that are currently incarcerated who were sentenced before
right.
this law was passed, if they
And
feel
I'm gonna
like it
go over
applies
that
to
one
them.
as well.
Okay.
Far as with that. Um So basically, what this law is protection and changes. The old law is survivors of domestic violence who committed crimes. This was the old law before it was changed. Survivors of domestic violence who committed crimes under distress or due to abuse often had no legal path to explain the abuse effects of on their actions. Evidence of abuse was often limited or not allowed. But the new law now protects, and the new law allows survivors to present evidence of abuse, domestic, dating, child abuse, as part of their trial and sentencing. Also, the past was mandatory sentencing for serious crimes, including life sentence without regard to extent of abuse. Survivors can always seek reduced sentences, but under the new law, if abuse is found to have contributed to the crime for crimes with mandatory life sentences, the judge must impose 10 to 30 years instead, unless prosecutors agree otherwise. For other felonies, sentences cannot exceed half, and I'm reading it so I can make sure I'm saying it right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, hold on. Half of what they serve. So survivors who that are from the old one, survivors who already was incarcerated under older, harsher sentence had limited liability to ask for resentencing, even when their convictions involve abuse or coercion. The new protection changes would have been under the old law, but the new law creates a path for resentencing for the people currently serving time under the sentence tied to abuse, which is, of course, you can find that up under the Georgia Coalition Against Domestic Violence as well. So all of these laws that they putting in is definitely helping the women that are facing charges and the ones that are incarcerated already. Because at one point we never had anything. Because what's the thing when the police come to the house, the first thing the victim says, "Oh no, we're good. It's okay." We never had anything. We dropped TPO orders when things got back better, or they dropped the charges. So when something did happen, when they go to court, they never had any type of evidence. It was always far as like shown good for the abuser and not for the victim. So now the TPO orders can stand. Now, and if you work in the workplace violence, if you tell your supervisor, "I have a stalker," or "my abuser is stalking me," that could be used as evidence as well. So now these things are implemented when beforehand it wasn't implemented. And I tell everybody, I don't care who you tell. If it's something done in the workplace, let your supervisor know. Let HR know, because they should have a workplace in hand. That's part of OSHA, what people don't realize. They should have something in place for workplace violence. That should be in place. And that's what they should fall up under, far as with any type of stalking, any type of abuse that's going on, or they want to just have a record of it, you know?
Okay.
So they're not fighting by themselves. We definitely trying to fight with them, definitely, because it's lonely. People don't understand. The first thing they tell you, get out. Why you stay in that situation? You should have been left. There's no way I would have stayed up in there. But again, you got to think about finances. You got to think about if she leaves, and of course our safety exit plan tells them exactly what to have, tell them exactly what they need to do, especially if they having kids, as far as getting school records, as far as getting the driver's license, the social security cards, the birth certificates, all this stuff. We don't think about none of this stuff because we just want to leave out. But then when it comes to time to leave, we think about this stuff. Oh, I don't have this. Or the shelter say, "What, do you have your driver's license? Do you have this?" No, we were just thinking about leaving. We were just thinking about getting up out of there. So I've expressed and definitely tell them, look, make sure you check off this list on this
And have a plan.
and have a plan. Have your money just in case if you, try to start saving up. And of course, we have resources that will help them as well. And that's the good thing about networking, is that I have networked with a lot of organizations that do help domestic violence. And our network went to one of the classes with Ms. Vita Brown. So it's good to be, hand in hand with these organizations, because all of us have to work together. Take us all. Can't do it by ourselves. Not even with these big wigs. They need us. They need the community workers. Because there's so much they can do being up under government funded, versus with communities, we can kind of help a little bit more in depth with them. And that's all they need.
Yeah. And I think too, also with teen violence, I think teenagers also need to recognize what is and what's not. I think a lot of folks just consider domestic violence as being beat on, but they don't think that it's emotional. I mean, blaming your partner when things go wrong, gaslighting them, trying to manipulate them.
Narcissist.
Yes.
That's a big one.
Brainwashing them. Threatening to out them. If you're in a homosexual relationship and you're constantly saying you're going to threaten to out them to people. Economic abuse is what you spoke about. Controlling their money, forcing them to get them their paychecks, not allowing their partner to go to work or go to school or attend activities, going up on their job, showing out, causing a disturbance, taking away their passport, their social security card, and their driver's license, anything that gives them abuse. So even I've spoke to folks before and they're like, "Oh, well, that's not rape." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, it's not rape because we're married." Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
If it's not what the other person wants.
Forced.
Yes.
Anything that's forced. I've even started getting I have the organization that I work for. I've even partnered with them in receiving their old laptops that we have when we go to new laptops, that they would donate those laptops, because a lot of ladies, once they leave, their spouse have their cell phones. or they on a cell phone plan, or they don't have a laptop to do any resources on. So I started receiving old laptops. They're not outdated, but they are laptops for them to have for free, to be able to do emails, to be able to search for jobs, to be able to do these applications. So that plays a part as well. You know, they leave with just the shirts on their back and bringing the kids. That's it. You know, so I try to help as much as I can. Again, because I've been in that situation for 16 years. I didn't leave until after the 16 years, you know, because we go back, we listen, we think it's going to be good, but it never gets better. It gets worse. And the good thing about with my organization, I started helping with HR when they do have a domestic violence, which we have had a couple of them, and to provide those exit plans for them, to be able, instead of them saying, oh, just call EAP. Well, EAP is just going to give you United Way. It's going to give you all these other resources. But with me, I could give you direct resources, what to do, how to do it. And thank God it's been successful into doing it and partnering with HR. And then I actually, this week we just started doing the awareness for domestic violence and breast cancer, because we never did it here. And I was telling like the CEOs and CFOs, we come in here with masks on our face. We leave it at the door. And, some of them I've seen with black eyes. And I told them, you have to do something about this. You either got to put a hotline number for them to call, or you have to do something, because it's not going to be just a conversation that they come up and talk to you about. And if they do, that means they, of course, seeking for help. But then 9 out of 10, somebody say, ain't no way I'll be staying in that. So it automatically shuts them down. They're not going to talk about it no more. Because I've been there. You don't want to talk about it no more. So you just face it. I know when I was shut down, I was just like, girl, you in this by yourself. You just got to make it do, So, but other than that, I have been bringing awareness to my organization. It has been successful. I thank, God, that they have been open-minded, and, being with a bunch of males, they kind of see, hey, you got workers coming here that's fighting it, they coming here and fighting. Hey, Vita.
How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself? It's good to see you.
I am well, thank you. I saw the email come across and I was like, let me jump on. So please forgive me. I am actually not prepared to be on camera, but did not want to miss it. Again, it popped up, so I wanted to come in. And I think this is an awesome platform.
Yeah.
And so as you said, the work that we're doing in the community, it is so important that we provide the education and awareness. So as you were talking, I was just thinking about the roles that we can play. Now, our organization, we promote the healthy relationship aspect of it, because a lot of us, we were raised to marry and get a white picket fence with the 3.5 kids and live happily ever after. And so I think a lot of times we are looking for that whole picture without, finding out, are you in a healthy relationship?
Yes.
And so I would like to sit down with you because of the things we've started, a Rise Employment Training Program to help them with their financial abuse, to take them and get them ready. And then we partnering with employers. So I would definitely love to sit down with you. You talked about how you are able to directly impact them with the shelters and all of that stuff. So let's sit down and brainstorm, see how we can impact more women. And I wanted to tell you guys, and then I'm going to turn the platform back to you. We have also a domestic violence simulation, and it's called Shoots and Ladders, Barriers to Leaving Abusive Relationships. And we take the attendees through the life of someone that's in an abusive relationship. And
Okay.
and so they'll have a better understanding when you ask the question, well, why don't she just leave? It's not that simple, because if it was, everybody would get out of it. So
Exactly.
yeah, I really, I'm excited that, to see you guys today, and count me in for whatever we can do to work together to build a coalition
Yes.
of ending domestic violence. So I'm on board, and thank you for the time.
Oh, no, welcome. And Ms. Vita, can you drop the information about the Chutes and Ladders stuff? Is that
Yeah.
open to the public that you'd like me to share that?
Yes, what I'll do is that what we do is that we reach out to different companies and organizations. So I'll probably have to send you, put something together and send it to you so
Okay.
that they can, yeah, I would love to do that. And we come and we do the training for them. We're going to be doing it at Fulton County on the 23rd of October, or somewhere in there. So yeah, I'll definitely send it to you. Put your information in there and I'll send it to you. And I would love to do, or either if you want to plan one and we come out and do it for a group together, we're open to that.
Okay. That'll be great. But you'll get a follow-up email from us with the recording of this anyway, and that'll be that email you can send us back the information.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. That is a
Yes.
great idea.
It's powerful. It's really, we have people that they're crying. They're saying, I never thought about it like that, because we give them different amounts of cash, and they was like, well, I don't have but $1. But in real life, everybody don't have the same amount of money.
Yeah.
So when you run out of money and you run out of resources, you got to go home. And a lot of times they don't want to go back home. They were like, what can I do? No, you got to follow the script. So it's really good.
Yeah. And that's the reason why a lot of them go back to the abuser, because they don't have the money to stay out there to survive, especially if they have kids. You got to feed them. You got to make sure they have clothes, and those are some of the resources we provide as well, to help even some of the organizations, even if they don't have shelters available, that they will put them in a hotel room. So those are some of the good things that we've done. I've even given for us to put them in a hotel room, and I know they say, well, you have to be careful because, putting it in your name, if they destroy it, you're going to be responsible for it. At that time, I'm just thinking about, hey, these kids and this mother is out in the rain, or this mother is out on the street. Those are the things until we, can find them a shelter, and not sleeping in their cars, or again, I've had some that's sleeping in their storage units, so yeah.
I think that's a new thing now. That's
Yeah,
sleeping
it's
in the
like 100
storage unit.
degrees and they sleeping in the storage unit with their kids. It's like, it's sad. Some of the stories are heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking.
It's very
And
heartbreaking.
also we have to in a gentle space to teach them about accountability as
Yep.
well. Because unfortunately, like with everything else, you have people that come and take advantage of, the opportunity and the misfortune of others. And so that's where we try to work with them, and, to make sure you understand all of us got to put a little skin in the game
Yep.
to make sure that we're helping one another to get out of it, the situation.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you so much.
I'm looking forward
totally
to
agree.
I'm looking forward to connect. I'm so excited. I'm so glad I was able to jump on, and I wish that y'all can see my face, but you can see my my picture all made up, but
Beautiful.
That's the beauty of networking that I tell people. That's the beauty of networking, because you do come across these organizations that's doing it, that's in the fight just like you. You're not alone,
Right.
It's not about who does this or who does that. Everybody part makes this puzzle together. You know,
Yes.
I don't get jealous of one organization because they doing this to do. No, I'm gonna learn from this organization.
Exactly.
How I can do build together with this organization, how we can be together, you know. It's definitely, and it's not about me. It's about the victims. It's about the survivors that we're in coming in contact with me. It's never about me. It's who I'm serving, you know.
Right.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It has been very informative.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
I thank you so much for coming on to not only just tell us about the services of Awaken Voices, but to give your own personal testimony. I myself am also a survivor, and it can be hard. I think it's not as easy as a lot of people say leave. And then on top of that, if your own personal self-esteem is low,
Exactly.
that's a whole nother layer of things to get a person going, and also with children, because you will have some folks that will stack up, and it's sort of the same thing I say what people say about children. Oh, you should keep them children, and then be like, oh, you gonna help me take care of them? You know,
Exactly.
people are so quick to say you should just leave. It should be easy to leave. Oh, okay, so you're gonna give me the money to leave?
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
so if you're not gonna help with anything to help, then just be quiet, you know.
Exactly.
But it's very hard, and I just say it's women who do leave are very brave. A
Yeah.
lot of women don't make it. There was a
They
story I
don't.
think I read, was it this year, about, was it in Henry County? The young lady went to go and testify against her husband stalking her.
Yep. And she. Yep.
And she had, and it had been telling the police, and they had it
Yep.
on record, been telling the
Yep.
police,
Yep.
constantly telling the police that he was stalking. She had TPOs. Police did
Yep.
not listen.
They don't
She
care
went to
about
court to
that.
testify. She walked out of the courtroom and he shot her dead in the face.
But she
And
asked him,
and
could
she asked
she
the
walked
police.
him,
She
asked the
asked the
police,
police to
could
walk her
he
to her
walk
car,
her to her car?
and they
And
refused.
he refused to. And he
Wow, I
shot her.
missed that story.
Yes.
Yes, that's this
When
year.
did
Yes.
this
It's been
That
at
happen?
was
least
this
6.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, I want to say, not too long ago, a couple
And
months,
she was
months ago.
beautiful. She
Yes,
was
very
beautiful.
beautiful. Yes. Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
I need to look that story
Yeah.
But
up.
it's
It's
so
in
many. That's the
Stockbridge,
sad thing
Stone.
about it. It's so many. It's so many.
Yeah.
Similar stories.
So many
Yeah.
of, even the young lady where she was leaving, she had already left the abuser and she was trying to get in the house, or go to another neighbor's house, and he came and shot her right there in front of her son. I think he was like, what, 5 years old, 3 years old, shot, and that was on the news where they was showing how many bullets was in her. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's just heartbreaking. But
So we have to learn about, I think one of you guys said about loving ourselves enough.
yeah,
We have to
do.
figure out how to get
Yeah,
to that place that
yeah,
we love ourselves enough to understand that, yeah,
yeah,
all of us want to be in a relationship,
yeah.
and none of us would ever dream that when
Yeah.
we are embarking on these relationships, it's going to be someone that will harm or hurt us. We don't even think about that. But when
Yeah.
we identify those warning signs, that we know it's time to make a decision. And
Yeah.
so I just was on the phone a little while. I was a little bit late with this young lady a minute ago. She said she stayed in there a little bit longer than she anticipated because she thought she would be judged and no one would understand. And she went to her boss, and her boss was actually laughing
Wow.
about the situation and telling the other employees. I'm like, what?
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, because I know I just did a radio interview and we was talking about far as the signs to look for. And I said use, and the topic that I used was red flags wrapped in roses. Because that's
Oh, I
exactly
like
what it
that.
is. Red flags wrapped in roses. Because it
Mm.
never is, the mask eventually falls off.
Oh,
It
yeah.
can't stay the same. And again, that's when like you stated before, that's when it comes with self-esteem. It comes with loving yourself. And those are the things I had to do, because I kept, even after the 16 years, that was the physical abuse. Then here comes the next part. It was the mental abuse. And then the next one was spiritual abuse. And I just
Emotional
had
and
to kind of stop
psychological.
and
Yeah,
say, hold up, wait a minute. You keep falling in these same patterns. Stop looking at potential and look at what it is, black and white. This is what it is. You can't look at potential, because if you look at potential and you look at the red flags wrapped in roses, then you'll be in that same situation again.
that is
But
powerful.
just like you
Red
said,
Yeah.
flags
have
wrapped in roses.
accountability.
I
Have to
like
take
that.
accountability.
Yeah. And I think one thing we just want to make a note before we end it. I think I've noticed a lot more that just society has become so desensitized
Yeah.
to other people being harmed.
Mhm.
But I think too, it also doesn't, I grew up in a time where, I'll be 50 this year, but I hear it now, where don't worry about it. That's your husband. Make sure you cook for him and make sure the house clean. As if trying to minimize, or you're the
Exactly.
reason why he's doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need to get out of that. And I think churches need to get out of that. Some churches will literally push you to stay in an abusive relationship. They will push you to not go and seek psychiatric help because you don't want nobody to think you crazy. They'll tell you you're not depressed, just pray about it. We as a community, particularly in our community, we need to stop telling folks to stay in situations that hurt them
That hurt
just
their home.
because
Exactly.
of what it might look like on the outside. And then sometimes we get desensitized. I've seen women run up to people or literally be slapped in public by another man, and there will be men walking by
And will
won't
not
say
do
anything.
And the reason why is I did a radio show on a podcast and was saying, we hear about breast cancer awareness, and people do go through breast cancer awareness, but yet and still in the church we hear about it. But in the church we don't hear anything when it comes to domestic violence. You know why? Because some of it is the pastors, some of it is the deacons, some of them is the people that's right there that's praying over you and laying hands on you. We want to keep that hush hush. No,
Yes.
you don't hear it nowhere.
That's the truth.
You don't hear about domestic violence.
You don't hear about it, but you don't hear about none of it. But you'll hear about breast cancer. You hear about all this other stuff, but you won't never hear about domestic violence. None of it.
And if those that will talk about it is very minimal. And as you said, it's because so many people and guys, let's face it. That power and control.
Exactly.
Is what drives the abuse. And so if you think about it, the pastors, some of them, they are in a position of power, right? So we've tried for years to get into the churches to educate and hit brick wall after brick wall.
I have to. So hey, I tried to get a group together just for people to talk about it, just to be able to express it. I didn't get a no, we're not gonna talk about that in the church.
That's sad. That's sad.
It is, because again, the coup of people that's there, like you say, it's male dominant. We don't want to talk about that. No.
That's sad. Well, this has been amazing.
It has.
We're definitely going to have these conversations outside of October. Because it is a year-long thing of folks fighting on. And I think one of the biggest challenges for me, not necessarily me, not anymore, because I'm in a very loving relationship that embodies what it's supposed to be love. You can tell I got a smile on my face, even though I'm going through some other stuff with my niece and some stuff going on with my family. But I can recall one of the worstest part of time 10 years ago when I first got home out of prison in this relationship. And I used to hate the holidays. Everybody's always telling people Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. And I say, stop saying that, because there are plenty of victims at home who are stuck at home with their abusers for the holidays. And sometimes these women, especially if they got jobs, they dread. Most people love getting off for a week or two for the holidays. But if you're at home with an abuser, you're trying to find extra hours to work on Christmas Day.
Stay at home.
And
Exactly.
yes, and so I just want folks to be mindful of that
Yes.
too. That on
Yes.
top of being in domestic violence relationship, that on top of this being a season of
Yep.
seasonal affective disorder, which is
Yep.
sad, where people are getting depressed based on the
Yep.
season. This is a time that a lot of folks are losing family members and funerals, or this is their first holiday. So all of this stuff compiled on the fact of you being in an abusive relationship. Just be mindful of that, because a lot of times our families are really toxic, and that
Yep.
doesn't make it helpful either. You're already in an abusive relationship, and then they know their son beating on you,
Yep.
but then
Exactly.
you got to go around their family,
Yep.
and it's just awful. So we want to make sure we keep
Yes.
survivors and victims in our prayers for this
Yes.
holidays,
Yes.
and that they will find some way to get out of it. And that we have more people that'll support organizations like yours, Kendra,
Yes.
and ours, because we do this
Yes.
work for
We
free.
all teamwork.
Um, and
Yes.
so it's more than enough work and more than enough
Yes.
healing to go around, where
It
we don't
is.
have to
It
gatekeep
is.
on
No.
helping folks.
No.
Mhm.
So
No.
this has been amazing.
It
And again, we're
has.
gonna make sure we send you this
has.
recording and the chat drops. I just want to remind you all, this is something we started last month. And so we've been doing
Okay.
these on
Awesome.
Thursdays. We sent out a lot of stuff that helps folks with criminal records, but this is something that affects us all. And we have these on Thursdays up until like the second week in November. Then we're
Okay.
gonna shut down December, and then we come back in January. So the goal is
Okay.
to be looking for other resource providers who want to do these Thursday lunch calls with us. When we put that call out, share it with your people and say, hey, go on in and tell about your information. We don't charge for it. We just want to get folks the information out. So next week, we will be joined by the Center 909, which is out of
Okay.
Columbus, Georgia. They only serve Columbus, Georgia, but if you want to come on just to
Yes.
support, we would love you to have you come on and make connections, because you may want to meet some partners and connect with folks
Exactly.
in Columbus. And then on the 16th of October, we're going to be with the domestic violence program that's out of Cherokee County, which is the Cherokee Family Violence Center, and they actually work with statewide as well. And then even though they don't, I tell people it's relative. I've been mentioning the November 6th event, which is going to be with the Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation. They actually have an
Love them.
entire program that
Mhm.
actually helps survivors of domestic
Okay.
violence,
Yes.
whether it's rental assistance, deposits, I think they said other financial assistance, getting your
Mhm.
TPO. And that's one of the biggest challenges of trying to navigate the legal system.
Yes.
So be sure that if you're
Yes.
joining us for these domestic violence calls, that you join
Yes.
us on November 6th as well. But I
Yes.
did drop the link in the chat. You can register
Okay.
for any of those events at our upcoming events.
But
Great.
are you going to send additional information out
Yes.
as well as they come?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great. That's
Mhm.
great. That's great.
Yes. So other than that, we want to thank you all so very much for
Thank
spending your
you.
lunch hour with us. And thank you so
Yes.
much,
Yes.
Kendra.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You all have a great day.
All right. Have a good
Okay.
one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye. Bye.
Kendra.